Okay, good morning, you guys. I'm going to talk to you today about another method for solving a system of equations. Remember, a system is when there's two equations. So we're going to solve this systems. There's two equations, but we're going to use a different method. So far you've learned about the method of we can graph them. Right? That's the first method. We already learned that one. The second method is substitution, which we're working on right now in class, and you guys are really understanding that method. Now this is the third method, and it's called elimination. So elimination is great. Elimination, sorry, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, it's called elimination. It's not letting me write the word elimination. Hold on. Elimination, there we go. Elimination is a great method. This is method 3. It's a great method when we have a setup like this, where you notice the x's are right on top of each other, the y's are right on top of each other, and then the numbers are right on top of each other. So when we have a situation like that, this is when we can use what's called elimination, and it's a really easy method that I think you guys will really like, okay? So what you're going to notice first here, okay, let's go back. You're going to notice, right, that if I put these two, I'm basically going to line them right up, right? And you're lining up your x's, your y's, and your numbers. And you're going to just kind of add up and down is what you're going to do. You're really going to just add these up and down here, okay? And what's going to happen sometimes, which is really nice, if you notice right here, I have a plus 3y and a minus 3y. Those cancel out. Positive and a negative. Positive 3, negative 3, we get 0. Those cancel, so that's gone. So now I've eliminated, that's why it's called eliminate. I've eliminated that variable y. There's no more y. And now I just add up and down. So 4x plus 2x gives me 6x. And then I add over here, 16 plus 8 gives me 24. And now I just solve this equation for x by dividing by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. And I've got my first variable, x equals 4. Now I still have to go back and solve for y, because I have to get x and y. But I'm done with the first one, and I've got x, which is awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this x equals 4, and now I am going to do substitution. Now I can substitute it for either equation. So I can either substitute it here for the x, or I can substitute it here for the x. It really doesn't matter, whatever one you want to use. So I'll go ahead and use the first one. So it's 4, instead of x, I'm substituting a 4, plus 3y equals 16, okay? And now I just solve this. 4 times 4 is 16, and I go through my steps to solve this. And it should, 16 minus 16 is 0, divide by 3, y equals 0. So my final answer will be 4, 0. Remember, we always do x first and then y. Okay, so that's the process of elimination. Now, it works really well in a situation like this where I had a plus 3y and a minus 3y. In the next one over here, notice I have a plus 3x and a minus 3x, so it's going to work the same way. They're going to cancel each other out. But let's look down at number 3. At number 3, I have a minus 4x and a plus 3y, but then I have a 2y and a 2y. The problem is those aren't going to eliminate. They're not going to cancel out because they're both plus. So what I have to do is I have to multiply by -1 on one of the equations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bottom equation here, and I'm going to multiply the whole thing by -1. And that -1 is going to distribute to each of these. And I'm going to get a new equation. So I'm going to write this new equation over here. Okay, so my new equation is going to be -3x. -1 times 2 is -2y. And -1 times 12 is -12. Notice how I took that -1 and I distributed it to every single thing. You have to take that -1 and distribute to each term. Okay, don't forget to go all the way over. Now, that first equation, I'm not going to change at all. That's going to stay exactly the same. Okay. okay? And now what's going to happen, because I multiplied that second equation by a -1, now notice these two are going to cancel out, okay? So I'm going to get my elimination is going to happen right here. 2y minus 2y is gone. That gives me 0. And now I just add up and down. So I add -4x plus -3x is -7x. And I add over here, -2 plus -12 is -14. And then I solve, and I get x equals 2. And I'm almost done. Now I have to take that 2 and do my last step of substituting it back in. Again, I can do either equation. I can either substitute it for x right here, or I can substitute it for the x up here. So I'll go ahead and do the top one again. So I'll have -4 inside the parentheses 2 plus 2y equals -2. And now I just work this out. And then I'm solving for y, so I'm going to move the 8 over. And I get y equals 3. So I should have an answer, remember always x first and then y, of 2, 3. Okay. All right. Now there's other situations too, and I'm going to have you practice a lot of these so you'll get the hang of it. But a situation like on number 4. So let's look over here at number 4. Now look, up and down. 6x minus 3x, those don't cancel. 2y minus or plus 3y, those don't cancel. Okay? So I have to do something where I can multiply by something to make one of those variables cancel. So in this case, let's see, what could I multiply by? Well, notice there's a +6 on the top and a -3. So if I just multiplied that bottom equation by 2, what's that going to give me if I distribute a 2 to everything here? 2 times -3 is -6x. And then 2 times 3 is +6y. And 2 times -9 is -18. So as soon as I distributed that 2 to each of those, I now got a -6x in front, which is perfect because that original equation had a 6x on the top. So I have to think, what could I multiply by in order for these to cancel? And so now my 6x and my -6x, boop, boop, bye-bye. Okay, those cancel. And then I can go up and down and add. I get 8y. 2 minus 18 is -16. And then this part you guys can finish, okay? And then take your -2. Now notice this time it's y. So when I plug it back in, I have to plug it in for y on either equation. So just be really careful that you're plugging it in for the right variable. If it's equal to x, you plug it in for x. If it's equal to y, you plug it into y. Okay, let me show you one other situation, and then I'll let you practice these on your own, and then there's another practice that you can do as well. So let's look at number 6. Okay, so number 6, this is a little harder because if you look up and down, okay, if you go up and down on this one, you are going to notice, sorry, I had a little interruption there. You're going to notice that none of them are the same. 5a, 2a, not the same. -2b, -3b, not the same. And there isn't even a number I could multiply by, right? I can't multiply 2 times something to equal 5. It's not going to cancel. Or I can't multiply 2 times something to equal 3. It's not going to cancel. So in this case, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to multiply both equations by something to make them cancel. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I'm going to multiply the top equation. And what I notice here is I've got a 5a and a 2a. So what I'm going to do to multiply those is I'm basically just going to switch them. I'm going to multiply the top one by a 2 and the bottom one by a 5. So these numbers are just going to switch. Okay, but hold on. They're still both positive. I need one of them to be negative. So I'm going to have to do a negative on one. It doesn't matter which one. So switch them and give one a negative. Now distribute. So this is 10a minus 4b equals 22. And this one is negative 10a plus 15b equals 55. Now look at the magic. 10a minus 10a canceled out. Okay, and now I can add the rest. So negative 4b plus 15b is 11b, and I add here and I get 77, and then you guys can solve the rest. Don't forget to plug it in. It's equal to b, so you would plug it back for either one of the b's on those equations. Okay, but that's the trick in case you can't just multiply one equation to get them to cancel out. You could multiply both equations. Just make sure at the end of the day, one is positive and one is negative. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys work on this now. You can go back and finish the ones we didn't do. This video, you can pause it and rewind it and start it over again so you can watch it lots of times, okay? And then go back and do number 2 and number 5 and finish up 6 and 4 and see if you can get the right answers. All right, good luck, and let me know if you have questions.